So you see this button here, they told you? Okay.
For the speaker and then to turn it.
It is 7 p.m. I would like to call the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting to order. Can I have an official roll call?
Thank you, Chair Ellis. Commissioner Hunt is absent. Commissioner Garner.
Present.
Microphone.
Present.
Commissioner Eubanks.
Here.
Microphones. Oh, the right button.
Here.
Commissioner Greggs.
Here.
Commissioner Thor.
Here.
Vice Chair Broom.
Here.
Chair Ellis.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. At this time, do we have any public comments?
We have no public comments.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve of the minutes, approval of the minutes.
I make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Gardner, and we have a second by Commissioner Thor. So it's been properly moved and seconded. Please cast your votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Alrighty, so business. We have the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee review of Sycamore Drive and Traffic Calming Project. Is that you, Scott? Hi, Scott.
You. Hi, good evening, guys. I'm very happy to be here tonight. We have tonight, there's a project that we're looking to do improvements on Sycamore Drive, the entire length between L Street and Auto Center. Project we've seen a couple years ago. It never was brought before the board, and now we're bringing it in front of you guys for you guys to take a look at it as the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. I have Frank Appia here. He's our traffic engineer, works with Interwest Consulting. He has a little presentation to go over, kind of tell you what's going on in the project. If you have any questions, be glad to answer them. So I'd like to bring up Frank.
Hi everyone, thank you. My name is Frank Appia, as Scott did say rightly. I work with Interwest Consultants. I'm the traffic engineer consultant for the city of Antioch. I'll be taking you through the Sycamore traffic calming design. All right, so the outline of my presentation is as follows. First of all, I will talk about the basis of the design, the ideas that came up with the design. Second, I will talk about the elements of the proposed improvements. Can you hear me? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll start again. So the outline of my presentation is organized as follows. First, the basis of the design, the ideas, the thoughts that went into coming up with the proposed design. Second will be the elements of the proposed improvements. Third, the cross sections, the existing and the proposed design. The fifth one is the typical intersection details, followed by the recommendation. Then I will take questions and answers, and I'll show you typical design plans for this corridor. With the basis of design, there are many factors that were considered when coming up with this design. Key among the factors included the collision history, the public concerns and requests about speeding on this corridor, traffic volumes, and proximity to schools. With the collision history, a brief review of the 5-year collision history that from 2018 to 2022 revealed several vehicle pedestrian crashes, of which one resulted in fatal injury. And the main cause of collision on this corridor is normally related to speeding. Now, a look into the proposed improvement, the elements of these improvements. As existing, the lanes are kind of wide, about 16 feet wide, which is far above the standard, which is 12 feet. So we're looking to narrow the roadway lanes. We do have class 2 bike lanes, which do not have existing buffer to separate or give some kind of separation between traffic and bicyclists. So we're going to introduce a buffered bicycle lanes, which helps traffic stress on pedestrians and cyclists. Also, we do consider high visibility crosswalk with shark teeth or yield lines, which will be set back at 20 to 50 feet from the crosswalk. And at some intersections or crosswalks, we enhance the crossing with rectangular flashing beacons, which have proven to increase vehicle yielding to pedestrians waiting to cross at the edge of the roadways. in addition to taking care of the speeding on these roadways, we are going to install advanced warning signs with flashing beacons to enhance driver alertness to our speed. And also we are going to install vehicle feedback signs, which kind of give drivers the alert as to how fast they are going above the posted speed limits. And also we intend to introduce a physical separation between opposing traffic by implementing these flexible tough caps, which will separate opposing traffic on the corridor. So this gives us a detailed design of the corridor. Up on this is the existing cross-section. As you can see, we have 16 feet wide lanes and 6 feet bike lanes. And with these wide lanes, it encourages speeding and other unsafe behavior by drivers on our roadways. So this design seeks to improve the existing condition by, first of all, narrowing the roadways from 16 feet to 11 feet and taking portion of that roadway width to introduce a median that will be separating opposing traffic. In this median, we are going to install the tough caps at regular instances. And also we are going to introduce a bike buffer, which has proven to reduce traffic stress on bicyclists. So in summary, the improvement on this is going to be, first of all, lane narrowing, which will take care of the speeding, the buffered bike lane, which will introduce some level of safety for bicyclists and pedestrians using the roadway. And also we're going to separate opposing traffic by introducing the low-cost median formed with the delineators. And in addition to taking care of the vehicle pedestrian crashes, we are going to improve sidewalk crosswalks with high visibility crosswalks and also the advanced yield lines, which will be set about 20 to 50 feet away from the crosswalk. And at some crossings, we are going to implement the rectangular flashing beacons, which has proven to enhance driver awareness of pedestrians at the edge of the roadways waiting to cross. And we do have the speed feedback signs, which will take care of speeding on this roadway. So once we combine all these elements together, we're going to have a more improved and secure roadway for both pedestrians, bicyclists, and the general traffic. This is a typical junction details that has been rendered. So as you can see, we do have the green or colored bike lanes, the high visibility crosswalks, crosswalks, and also the tough caps that will be separating the opposing traffic. So this is a typical junction detail at any of these intersections along the corridor. So we're here today to recommend that this commission reviews the plans and approve them for the next steps. I'll take questions.
I have a question. The yellow center dividing on the Sycamore Drive intersection, is that removable?
Yes.
Yes, okay,
The tough caps, yes, they are.
okay, thank you.
Anybody else have a question?
They're easily replaceable as well, right? We anticipate that drivers are going to be interacting with these delineators.
Can you, I don't understand. Can you?
They're easily replaceable as well, right?
Yes,
Are
they're
they
easily replaceable.
cost effective?
Yes.
Well, do you know what the unit cost is?
I don't know.
It seems like a good bargain, $425,000 for, how long is that stretch of road? About a mile? Okay. One thing I'd really love to see is the interface with the bordering intersections on Auto Center and L Street. I know L Street's getting some improvements. It'd be really great to see how those are meshing together. Are the, like specifically for L Street, I know that it's going to have a Shero. Is that right, Scott?
Yeah.
is that project talking in a way with this project to allow bicycles to effectively enter and exit Sycamore corridor?
You're gonna have a transition in between there because currently the L Street project is 2 different projects.
Right.
The one that's basically from Sycamore to the south to the freeway, grandfathered in right now, and yeah, the plan is to have sharrows on that road. The second phase, which goes to the north of Sycamore, where intention is to have bike lanes, separated sidewalk to go underneath the railroad track. So the transition there is going to be, Sherrow's is going to be to the south, and then you're going to be able to, as much as your bike lane crossing an intersection is awkward, you're going to have the same sort of situation as if you were, say, a child traveling from Sycamore to high school.
Right.
It would be, you would transition on to a dedicated bike lane would be placed when we do the next phase of the L Street
So
project.
would it look much like perhaps like Sunset and Slatton Ranch and Hillcrest all meeting together where those interfaces also have the similar green painted markings for?
Similar, but
Specific.
yeah, it does get kind of awkward also.
Right.
But yes, that's the idea. Right now with this, trying to get the corridor in between there.
Right.
We'll be building L Street currently, and then we'll be doing the intersection at Sycamore with phase 2, and then that'll be building in some additional bike lanes further to the north, past the high school,
Right.
and then eventually matching up to the work over on 4th Street.
Because this looks like a massive improvement, but how you get in and out of it is going to determine what's the weakest link, right?
Yeah, and sometimes maybe it's a start someplace.
Right.
We have to start, and then we can figure out. The transitions might not be great initially, but this is a very good step, as well as the work going on in L Street. Auto Centros, that's a different beast over there on that road, but. It is, I feel, it is a very strong improvement for pedestrian access, bicycle access, the separation of the cars and narrowing the lanes, trying to calm things down. What you see in the middle of there, they're tough curbs. There's a difference between these things and a delineator, because, wait a second. So they're part speed bump. So if you look at the bottom of that thing, it's not just a delineator that you see stuck to the road. It actually has a curb type speed bump area that these delineators come up from. You're not going to want to run over these things. They will be a deterrent. I have seen something similar if you've ever gone like Kirker Pass towards as you get into Oak Grove, I think that's the road. They've delineated off the right turn pocket using these sort of facilities.
And we have in the past discussed putting those in other places, like Hillcrest at Davison.
In terms of using something like this, a delineator or something, these are relatively new. We don't have any of these in town. We do have some areas delineated just with the 3-foot plastic pipes. This is a much more robust system that's intended to stay in the ground and deter people from wanting to hit them.
Excellent.
And to the question with that is, yes, they are removable, but not very easily. They are much more cost effective than building like a concrete median in there, because that's what we're trying to get at, to get the separation, to minimize the lane widths. It's a psychological thing. That road right now is as wide as a racetrack. All of a sudden we narrow it down. Most people will pay a little bit more attention to their surroundings because there's more things kind of up on them. It's just a method of traffic calming. We utilize that also with our speed bump projects, just to try to minimize the sight lines. Other places that's taken, in fact, even on Cavallo, we've done that similar, put in a center stripe and some outside stripes. It narrows the roadway. Hopefully people then just slow down a little bit.
So I have a couple of questions. So did you receive the community's input in regards to these designs? Because I know the last time we were doing a project, some of the communities have issue with losing their parking. Are they gonna lose any parking? And were they okay with the designs?
In this case, we're not impeding anybody. There currently is no parking on Sycamore. So the intent is to clean that up. So right now it's a wide road, no parking or not, you still get cars parked on the side of the road. By doing this, dedicating a bike lane, putting in the separation, putting stuff in the middle of the road to try to make it not like it's a parking lot, but yet it's utilized as a roadway. The hope would be that people, if you're using the street right now, you shouldn't be. I'm sorry that's going to go away, hopefully for you, but nobody is losing any parking with this project.
Also, too, how long is this project gonna take to be completed?
Should be pretty quick. I'm not quite sure what the lead time is on the materials. That's probably going to be one of the major things that we need to do is get those tough curbs ordered. I want to say that maybe there was like a 50-day, which would be kind of maybe a 2-month, 3-month project timeline. I'd have to confirm what that was. Again, a lot of that's lead time, getting people under contract, that kind of stuff. But the project itself, again, you're looking at, in a nutshell, some striping, some signage. There is some materials that need to be purchased, such as the feedback radar feedback signs, any other electronical things. You know, they're going to have to be purchased with some sort of time that it's going to take us to get them. But I expect the project to go very quickly once we get going.
And we already have the funding to be able to execute this, correct?
We have funding. The proof is in the pudding when we bid it out to what the bids come back at. But I believe there's like $425,000 for us to do this work. We believe that's enough. The project has been sitting for a little bit, you know, but we are looking to get it out now, and we'll see how the bids come out.
Okay, thank you.
Am I correct in assuming that there's no electric work with the either delineators, no lights on them, anything like that, and no lighting in the street that we're proposing here?
No, the electrical that would be here would be solar for either flashing crosswalk area, those RFBs, which are just on the side of the roads that has the yellow signs on it. Same thing for the speed feedback signs, they're solar. There's no need for tying into PG&E. And with that, there is no in-pavement lighting going on with this project.
Okay. And the delineators on that left picture there, it almost looks like there's lights across the top. There won't be any lighting there, just reflection.
That's just reflective tape.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. These are a flexible material, so if a car veers to the right, is it the flexible and not a concrete ballard?
Oh, it's definitely not concrete, but it's definitely, it will bend, but it's not meant to bend. I believe that it will damage your car if you hit it.
Okay.
But it's not hitting a concrete barrier either.
So now, if we needed to have to replace some of these, the flexibles, what's the cost to replace? And because I've seen some where they've been run over, and it kind of looks like a little eyesore when it's missing pieces.
Yeah, and just like when we were talking about the linear foot cost for this, I don't know offhand. I don't expect the cost to be absorbent, but I also don't expect these things to be damaged like you would. The ones that we see, like I think of, there's ones over by Wells Fargo, there's ones over by the Babe Ruth fields, those are just delineators, they seem to get damaged a little bit more often. These things are attached much differently, they're much stronger attachment to the ground. They're not going to want to fall off very easily. So I don't expect them to be damaged and be needing replacement very frequently.
Okay, thank you.
I just had one comment. With this tough curb, will we be looking to use this for the separation of the bike lanes in the future in more high-speed areas such as Hillcrest? Because this is a much bigger deterrent than just a painted line. If this works on Sycamore, will the Planning Commission and everybody else be looking to use this in more high-speed areas to give more safety and security to bike pedestrians?
It's possible. Any protection between cars and bicyclists, your bicyclist is going to enjoy. Bicyclists would rather have a dedicated trail for them just to be on, but any separation is good. Any barriers is even better. So it's something we could look into. A case like this, as much as there's no parking on the street, there are houses. So you're not able to just put that barricade in there because people still do need to get in and out of their houses, and having a break, it becomes super awkward. But things like this and other physical barriers can be placed. Also the separation, those are kind of the two things. You end up with, say, a 6-foot sidewalk and a 2 or 3 foot separation. Now your bicycle at least has, 8 to 9 feet on the side of the road. Feels a little bit more comfortable, but these are the type of things that I think would be right below, say, a dedicated trail. But I'm honestly not a bicyclist, but from what I've gathered, the more separation, the more barriers, the better and the safer.
Yeah, so thank you, Shahad, for that, because I actually was just, yesterday and today, driving on from my house on Hillcrest, taking my son to Deer Valley, or to school this morning, and yesterday morning, and it was the bicyclists were in the bike lane, but it just seemed so close. Like I felt like I was gonna hit him, And so it would be good to see this more across the city in different areas like that. And I'm glad that we are doing this in the Sycamore area. Like I said before, I have a lot of friends and family that live in that area, and they, have complained. But have you guys done more? And just like I guess Chair Ellis was saying about outreach. I know she was mentioning like the parking. I know there really isn't that much parking like on that road. Actually, I don't think there's any parking on that road. But have you done any like other outreach to the community in that area just to see, what their wishes are and what they, I'm pretty sure they have a lot of safety concerns, but like what kind of outreach have you done?
So the conversations, the design in this was completed actually probably a couple years ago. So there was conversations had, different consultants were on board that led us to this. As for outreach to the current design, current residents, having a neighborhood meeting of what we're doing, no, we haven't done that. This has been driven by safety, and the concern is to try to do what we can to slow down cars, to try to prevent those other things. We're not necessarily impacting people in terms of their way of life. It's within our right of way, trying to basically just calm the roadway down a little bit, trying to make it a little bit better, make it a little safer.
Well, great job. Thank you so much. I'm sure that the people that are in that community will really appreciate all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
So, I want to commend you guys for doing this work. I know we had talked about this in the past, and I know we've had some bicycle deaths in the city of Antioch. Not sure if it was any over there, and we've been really wanting to look at making sure that the community is safe when riding their bikes, so that we can share the road with them. So I'm happy we finally able to bring forth more bicycle lanes and identify them. My question is with Vice Chair Broom, is it connectable? You know how when you're trying to ride, I know that was one of the other issues, that things are not connectable when you're riding your bike. So is this able to connect with the other bike lanes to get people throughout the city of Antioch? How is that gonna flow? Is it flowing, or is it still gonna be kind of a little, difficult for different bicycle lanes to be connecting to, I guess was it the flow of the speed of the bicyclist that felt like it was kind of wonky?
Sure.
When it didn't connect, and they wanted to make sure that they had connectability to be able to travel on their bike. So even though we're sharing the road and making improvements, is it gonna also improve that area as well?
I would consider this a piece of the puzzle. We're working at it. There are restrictions having to do with geometry of the roadway and other things that just make it very difficult for us to provide, I'm sure, what every bicyclist would like. It just doesn't work. Like I say, a point in this, by putting this corridor in there, increasing the safety in that area, especially along the major thoroughfare, the side streets are still going to be, they are their neighborhood streets. One would expect somebody to be able to ride their bicycle on there, and people aren't, flying 100 miles an hour. You will see within L Street, you will see improvements there. There will be sharrows on one side, but there will be bike lanes constructed with the second phase, so it will bend into that. At the other end, between on the auto center side, haven't really looked at that too much. That intersection is super crowded right there. I mean, it's not necessarily, I don't know exactly what we do, and if you, I'm not quite sure, but the intent is to try to at least open up a corridor and being able to go from that. Also, what's being said, we are looking into it, our bicycle pedestrian master plan. We're looking for some funding to that to move forward with the city. That's something that we'll be doing. That is something that we will be discussing with this group at some time. I'm trying to get the master plan of things, of what we'd like to see. I can't express more that there are often restrictions of what we can and can't do. So we really do try to do what we can in terms of, providing safety for everybody, bicyclists and pedestrians. Sometimes the roadway geometry, sometimes the circumstances make it difficult, but we still look into it. Things are also expensive. We consider to look for, grant money and things. Putting together a nice bicycle pedestrian plan might be very good for us and help us, we can get a better focus, maybe earmark some specific grants for some specific areas to do work. So it is something that we're working at. It's just one aspect of things, but it is an important aspect. And I guess the overlying thing, how does it connect? I would think of this as being a solid piece at the beginning of the puzzle, especially for this area. By putting Sycamore and getting that straight with the separation, it will allow us to work into L Street or, one of the neighboring streets and maybe over to Mahogany and what we're doing in that area also. We got to start someplace.
Thank you.
I have another question. Where was your last completed project and what was the feedback on that area-wise, location?
We did the park over off Mahogany. That wasn't done too long ago, Contra Loma Estates. I think it was very well received. I think that it was a wonderful project, actually, and we opened up an area for a very underserved community and gave them a beautiful park to play in. I haven't personally talked to anybody, but judging by the people that I've seen out there playing and the families that are out there and not the garbage that used to go out there, I think it was super successful. We did have a lot of outreach with the community at that time to give them what they wanted and work through the project, and I think that it was very successful.
I can agree. My students frequent the New Harbor Park and the other park that was recently redone, and they were so thankful for the TLC that those parks got. I've got a couple other questions just regarding sort of what's going on with we don't have the option for a bus pocket, so there's going to be some interface between cyclists and bus stops. Cyclists, are they going to have to jump up on the curb? Should they jump into traffic? What's the recommended move in that situation? Can you make a curb relief in a temporary, like?
It's something that we can look at.
Okay.
We can look at what we have as design here. I honestly don't know exactly where the bus stops are. It's something that we can consider. Unfortunately, that is one of the often a problem. And I guess in practice, in a neighborhood like that, most bicyclists will probably use a driveway here and a driveway there to get around it, or if there's nobody in the road to get out there. Neither one is probably the best route. Like you say, a actual turn pocket or build out is best. Again, we come into a geometry issue, but we can see if there's any that we can improve it. I'll work with Frank and see if there's something we can get it on-off. We have something similar to that on that multimodal pathway over by BART, where we remove people from the street onto the sidewalk. It's a wider pathway as they go down to the BART station.
Excellent. And then obviously this is going to be doing some traffic calming. Of course, it's near schools. I do wonder, during school hours and other situations, like, say, emergency vehicles, what kind of feedback have you gotten from, like, emergency services, Antioch PD, Confire, on mobility for them through this area? Is it going to impact their routes? I saw something about the emergency vehicle routes at the beginning of the presentation.
It's not intended to do anything. Like I say, in worst case, these barriers can be driven over.
Right.
But we're not narrowing the roadways enough that's causing a traffic problem. You're not tweaking out the turning radiuses enough so that cars or trucks can't make those turns. We're not really doing anything that's obstructing anything. But at the same time, really trying to give that effect that we are obstructing something, because that makes people say, whoa, all the striping, all the flashing lights, all the feedback, it's all intended to make people focus on what they're doing, not playing with their phone or going 1,000 miles an hour.
Right. Yeah, and if need be, cars can relieve over to the bike lanes, because there's no impact of, we don't have anything impacting them from getting over there.
That's going to be, you have 8 feet plus another 12, you got 19 feet in there, so yeah, you'd be fine.
Excellent.
And again, something we can always look into. The center medium part's something we've looked at a lot to try to figure out what's a good size for it, because you can shrink that a little bit and even give yourself a little bit more buffer on the side. What does that look like? So what we have is a very good cross section. Our intention is to take any feedback we write now, complete these things. I think our plans are pretty much done, but there's always room for some tweaking on. We'll take a look, finish them off, and we actually did put this project out to bid. I had forgot this step, so I had pushed back the bid date. This project's out right now as it is, but I pushed everything back because I needed to have this conversation. We can make any adjustments, put out addendums, but it is out. If you've heard anybody talking about this, the cart was before the horse a little bit, but we're getting it lined up right now to get that back right.
Appreciate you coming back retroactively, and I hope you'll keep us in mind in the future.
One more question about the delineators. Obviously, we're breaking the flow of traffic from people's homes going east or west, depending on which way they normally commute to, by making them either go east or west, depending on which side of the street their home is on. Has there been any studies or anything looking at the impact of them going down and making U-turns to go back the other way, anything like that from a safety perspective?
I have
that
not,
we've looked at?
I have not put done any survey on that.
Okay,
I'm, like I said, for this, there's gonna be some inconveniences. We're not gonna block anybody from being able to utilize their driveways, but if there's some flows, there's some things that are restricted, that's it. I'm sure that, just like anything, you don't do anything, you leave it wide open, it's what it is, but as far as we're concerned, yeah, there might be some behavior changes that need to be made.
understood, thank you.
Any more questions? If not, do we have to make a motion to vote on it? All right. Can I get a motion?
I'd like a motion to approve the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee review of the Sycamore Drive Traffic Calming Project, PW 282 TAC 22.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion from Vice Commissioner Broom, and we have a second from Commissioner Gardner. Let's take a roll call vote. Your note says this.
Motion passes 6-0.
I turned it on. So Scott, I see you are up next for our capital improvement.
Yes, ma'am. It's my favorite time of the year. I told them that last night and they laughed at me. I don't think they believe me, but it actually is my favorite time. My name's Scott Bunting. I'm your Public Works Director, City Engineer, and I also oversee the Capital Improvements Division, which I've done for 20-something years. The Capital Improvement Division plays a vital role in providing professional and technical engineering services support for all city departments and ensuring the successful implementation of federal, state, and local programs. The Capital Improvement Program, or CIP, is a 5-year plan to guide the construction and acquisition of capital improvements for the City of Antioch. The CIP is reviewed annually to enable projects to be reassessed and revised if necessary. The CIP before you tonight outlines the fiscal year 2026 to 2031 expenditures projected for capital projects. Last night, the Planning Commission made the determination of the 2026-31 capital improvement plan being consistent with Antioch's general plan. Tonight, staff is requesting that the Park and Recreation Commission approve the draft fiscal year 26-31 5-year CIP as it relates to park and recreation projects. Your support is instrumental in advising our city infrastructure and enhancing recreational spaces for the community. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'd be really happy to answer any questions you might have.
So Scott, these are just recommendations that they put forth, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I can start with one thing just to, there's probably not a whole lot of questions. Our report is very well done. My staff, between Lori Medeiros and Julie Vire, were helping out with this. I had Paul Fuentes, Robert Pizarro, Mitchell Loving. Small team puts together a real good report. They've worked a lot, made these things very reasonable, made very readable. I think that over the past years, they've done an excellent job on making these documents good. One thing that I will throw out, the council had one question of us, actually, yeah, just one, during our workshop. And it was regarding our playgrounds. So we have in there, you'll see that there's a dedicated playground replacement in there. I think it's $100,000 a year for 5 years. And they were asking, where do we plan on going with this? The playground list basically considers the playgrounds over at Antioch Community Park would be at the top of the list. Chaparral Park, Harbor Park, Meadow Creek Park, Monterey, and then Williamson Ranch. That's kind of the way we have. They're often in different levels of disrepair. Some is equipment, some is matting. So we try to go in there and do what we can. We're currently looking for grants for accessibility. One of the things that we'd like to see happen just in the parks in general is expanding our use of all accessible parks. It is a change. It does take some funding to be able to do it. They're typically larger and require a little bit more to it, but we do think that it's important to provide opportunities for everybody, so that's something that we're looking into just in general. Overall, I think our parks projects have been pretty successful. You asked, that might not have been the last project I did, but I'm pretty proud of it. It turned out pretty good. But the Concha Loma Estates Park looks nice. We're currently finishing up work on Jacobson Park over up Jacobson, I'm not where Jacobson is, but Jet Park, as it used to be called. It's now getting redone. We're waiting on some handrails, and we'll have that thing open probably within the next month or so. We'll also be starting work over at Marquette Park, another relatively old park over off Delta Fair. We'll be installing a restroom, replacing the playground, doing work on their tennis courts and basketball courts over there. Project's also already been awarded. We're just working with PG&E. The schedule's related more to the restroom itself. These are pre-constructed block buildings, so it takes them upwards of a lot of time to get these things done. That ends up being kind of the defining factor. We get where that restroom's going to come in, kind of build a schedule before and after. We're getting there. We're about hitting that time that we're going to start the project out there, so that's pretty exciting for me. Those are what we have in terms of playgrounds. We do have some other stuff that there's some other playgrounds that we're looking at doing. Trails, we constantly are working on that. You'll see a trail repair project, which is, it is what it is, right? We're either trying to grind it out, make it safer, so you can get some big cracks on trails. The ground's typically not as compacted as it would be on a roadway, so things settle, you get bigger cracks. We go out there, put in like a caulking, but it's a crack seal. You put that in the big cracks and maybe slurry seal or maybe even pave areas that to keep them going. Park-wise, hey, the Amtrak station, that was part of the park program. I have to lend that to Carlos Cepeda, our deputy director, and our staff worked with a lot of people to really improve that area out there. Took an area that kind of was whatever, made it really nice, you know, encompassed a no-fare zone over there to really help us possibly keep the Amtrak station, trying to do what we can to keep that going. But all in all, worst case, it makes a real nice little linear park over there. I think it's a good addition to the downtown area, something that we can build off of. Again, I'll be happy to answer any other questions with what you see in CIP.
Yeah, so I just want to say, my apologies. I was going to ask about one of these parks. I think I kind of got the agenda items confused. So I'm really even happy to see that, well, I'll just put it like this. I know, like, even when I was sworn in, I know some of you were there when we were sworn in, and I was talking about all these bad parks that was around, you know, when I was growing up. There were these bad parks, and this is 33 years ago. And I did not say what the name of the park was, but it was Jacobson Park. And so when I read the staff report and saw this, I thought this was actually for the next agenda item. But I'm happy to see that we are investing into this park because, you know, just growing up and being there, I just felt like, why do we have all the bad parks over here? And so I really think that's important for the kids and the families that are in that area because they deserve quality parks too. And, you know, I used to go to my friends' parks and buy their houses across the city and be like, your parks are nice. You know, why do I have to be stuck with this? So I think this is really important. So I really am excited that this is in progress. I thought this was something that may be coming up. So how long do you think before is it finished or just about finished, you said?
It's just about finished. There's some handrails they've received. They need to be hot dip galvanized. Takes a minute for that to get done. The basketball standard isn't in, but we have the backboard. And then there's some surfacing that goes on the court. It's made of asphalt, but there's surfacing that goes on top of the court that gives it color and all that good jazz. I'm hoping that it's within the next couple weeks. I'm trying to get that date set, and I would really love to, you know, see if we have a ribbon cutting out there. It's not the biggest park, but hey, you know what? We should celebrate the ones we do. It's beautiful, though. If you're not familiar with the area, it's a little recessed from the roadway, so getting down it was always an issue. It wasn't accessible by anybody that wasn't, you know, walking downstairs. So part of the process did grade in a pathway to make it ADA accessible to get down to the playground, which is huge. And then we did redo the playground area out there also. Thank you for noticing. But yeah, these older ones. Marquette's another one. You know, Jacobson Parks is one of the oldest parks that we have out here. but it's nice to see the work being done. Try not to forget, you know, it's a big city, right? And downtown has a lot of things too. And I can understand, you know, sometimes just the way things move. We're not in replacing, and things were moving, especially as we were building out. The newer stuff was new, the older stuff wasn't, and there wasn't the replacement built into it. And those metal play structures were still fine, you know. But then things change. But yeah, no, it'll be awesome. I'll be talking with the director and trying to set up a ribbon cutting out there, get some folks out there, see if we can really celebrate it, and hopefully it'll be relatively soon.
That would be amazing, and I would love to attend that.
Great.
Thank you.
Looking into the, where was it? The street lighting improvements for $390,000. Is that happening on a multitude of corridors or specifically busy roads throughout town?
So the goal would be citywide. The program itself is designed to replace all of our lights with LEDs. That would include all of our lights, not just street lights, but any city facility. You'll see a lot of pathway lights and stuff like that. Currently, the project that's been awarded, sounds like a repeating, but we're waiting for materials to come in, is north of the freeway from about Cavallo west. So it's most of downtown, but it stops right around that Cavallo corridor, just funding wise. So this will be phase one. We do this, again, getting most of downtown, and then going towards Cavallo, and then that would be followed with future projects. You'll see that there's no funding. It is something that we'll be talking with the council about to move forward with, but there's an initial phase. So for some of these things, when things get started like this, it's a pretty big project. So it's going out vetting what type of material we want to use, what type of fixtures we're going to replace, and then rolling it out. Sometimes rolling things out, even if you have the money, huge projects aren't necessarily the best way to do stuff. Roll this out, let's make sure we know what we're doing, make sure that everything's right. It's not like it's a small area, and it definitely is an important area because it is a downtown, and you have lots of complaints about lighting around downtown, and to get that fixed. And in the same time that this is going to happen, you'll also probably see some tree trimming going on. Most of the lighting issues have a lot to do with structures and features, not necessarily the lights. There are kind of a little random downtown because of just it's older. You'll see lights on wooden telephone poles, not just on electrolyrs. So that's a little bit different. But with this new project, if we need to install a new light, they will. But this will just be for that area with the intention of growing in future years.
And then the trail crossing improvements for $920,000. I think I might have asked perhaps last year about some difficulties navigating like the East Antioch Creek Trail at Hillcrest, how there's no relief in the curbs. Does that include some of those kinds of improvements, or?
We got two. Basically, it's two projects. Two of the Hawk signals. They're the pedestrian crossing ones that are similar to a stop sign or a traffic signal. We have one going in as part of this project on James Allen Boulevard, one of the crossings of the trail. I believe it's a crossing that's furthest to the east. With another project, we'll be putting one on the other side also, but this project includes one there. And then there's another one scheduled to go on Hillcrest. The trail crossing there is kind of skewed a little bit. That's one we're still working on because it is skewed, and what we're trying to do, it's kind of close to the signals, and it's a really busy intersection, but right now the intent is to utilize that furthest northern crossing on the western side and use that as a crossing, not allowing the people on the southern side to cross. You put one of those little barricades, go north or south to be able to go to a crosswalk and do that. And the third one's scheduled to go at the trail crossings right in front of the hospital, which is very interesting location because there's lots of stuff out there. Not only is there the trails, but so East Bay Mud is in that area, and they own their right-of-way. And Contra Costa Water District is there, and it's the Bureau of Reclamation, and they own their right-of-way. And their trails are on both these infrastructures. If you're not aware, our trails across the street are within other people's property. The Delta Deonza Trail and the Menoqualmy Trail are riding on top of East Bay Mud's right-of-way or the Bureau of Reclamation. That's the two major trails that cross us. But in general, so that is a great place because it is a busy area. Awkward because you have a hospital entrance, you have the Claiborne signal that's not that far away, you have multiple right-of-ways to try to even put your infrastructure. Most of these people, like East Bay Mud, they don't want you to touch anything within their right of way because those pipes are, you know, they protect their facilities. So still trying to lay that out, but we have funding. We've worked on it. We've got plans. Frank's actually working on that with me. So those would be a few good areas for us to increase those. But that's the gist of what that project would be. It's grant funded.
Excellent. And then if we could get our eyes on Deer Valley, where the De Anza Trail, it doesn't continue behind the storage, the public storage there at Deer Valley and was it Wildflower? Just about in Carpinteria.
Yeah.
In there. That one's also super dangerous. There are reliefs for cyclists and pedestrians to get up on the curb without dismounting the bikes, but maybe a little bit of
Well, and that's awkward too.
reflection even would be
Well, but the trail's not even open on the western, on the
on the
eastern
west side. You have to
right?
continue over the curb.
Yeah,
down
that's an awkward situation. That
Right.
probably needs a lot of it. I would love, again, a
nice
bicycle
master plan.
I mean, that would be awesome. The other area, honestly, bicycle guys, one of the major issues for us to address in some places, Hillcrest and Lone Tree Way, because that's another disconnect of the trail right there. We've talked numerous times about how to try to fix that area a little bit harder, but it is something that, you know, you can do something like a multimodal pathway on maybe the eastern side to widen it out and then do something through the intersection, because once you get to the other side, it's not that far along that you're back on a trail and everything's hunky-dory, but you got to get through that intersection first. So that's something that I heard a long time ago. We requested grant funding for it, but last time we requested grant funding for it, it's been a while because they were not interested because the bicycle pathway over the freeway hadn't been constructed. However, they did say when that was constructed that they would be very interested in continuing that trail crossing through that. So maybe it's something that we as a group can kind of look into and see if there's a funding opportunity for us to enhance it in that area and try to continue the pathway that's coming from Brentwood.
Wonderful. You know, I like the fact that we are looking at these different ideas about making sure there's connectivity throughout the city so that whether you have a car or a bicycle, you can get around. So I'm glad we're really looking at all these things. I just have a couple of questions. One, it says here, park facility upgrades. Which parks are we upgrading? Did you mention them already? Is it the ones that's listed here already?
Yeah,
or is there some additional ones?
The ones that we would look at, I had mentioned. The park at Community Park over by Jensen Park, that would be one of the ones we'd like to get at to relatively quickly. Chaparral Park and Harbor Park, they're also relatively older. Meadow Creek, Montero, Williamson Ranch. That would be kind of the list that we're looking right now to playground replacement, other improvements to the playgrounds.
So that is the same earmark as playground replacements?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be your playground upgrade, playground play. It's more on there's no specific project laid out for those that are called out, like you'll see Jacobson and Marquetti called out as bigger projects, bigger renovations. But most of the playground work that we would be doing would be in the playground upgrades, the yearly, it's almost like a yearly, not maintenance, but yearly replacement plan to be able to hit some of these, but not, you know, super aggressive that it doesn't attack any budgets too badly.
Okay, and how about how many? I know you named a couple of parks. I was trying to catch them, but how many more? Is it like 4 or 5 of them that that's going to be focused under that park facility upgrade?
So right now, if we're looking at 5 years, we've got 5 of them. But there's plenty of our parks, over 30 of them in the city. It's kind of like you could kind of keep going. There's always something happening. The material itself is typically pretty durable. Vandalism is a problem in many cases, unfortunately. So we have our list, but there's more. You know, we would keep going, and even if we didn't have a playground that was completely shot, there's always improvements that could be made. I mean, there's a slide that needs to be purchased. There's other improvements that need to get made. The rubber matting gets destroyed. I mean, it doesn't get destroyed unless somebody like takes a knife to it or burns it, but it still happens.
Right.
And those are the type of things that you go in to replace. And you can cut and paste a little bit, but pretty soon you end up with something that's patchworked, it's falling apart, and you really do need to come in, remove all the matting, redo the work. And, you know, again, it's kind of like just because things age doesn't mean they have to deteriorate. You know, if we do this right, we catch it early, we try to maintain things. You don't forget about the older part of towns or the older things as we do this. Hence the reason why, if you look at the Capitol, there's a lot of there's a lot of District 1 work to be done. District 1 happens to be pretty old, you know, and that's just the way it works. You know, there's this, the District 4 hasn't had, or the southern part might not have had as much time to age. And it's just the way that it is. It's not trying to be anything other than you're going after the things that are needed. And it happens a lot, not playgrounds, water lines, sewer lines, roads. It's just one of those things that the older ones are in this area. Hopefully, we do our work, we increase them, we bring them back up to a better standard, and then now they're not the older ones, and now they're in good shape, and now we're moving further south into the stuff that was constructed in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and now the stuff that's older downtown has been brought up, especially within the capital department. When we attack these projects, we try to, these aren't just maintenance projects. These are meant to bring things back to the original or better standard. We didn't just replace a playground at Contra Loma Estates. We built a new playground. We built a new facility. There was some stuff there, but we didn't go in there and just put a Band-Aid on something. We gave them a brand new facility that was top notch. It can be just as good as anything you're going to find at any of these other brand new facilities. And that's really the intent. Same thing with roadways and other stuff. We've done a lot of work downtown to try to increase accessibility and redo those roadways. Put a lot of money and time into it. And it does make a difference, but they shouldn't just be forgotten about, you know, and it is hard to get money for those types of projects. But, you know, that's what we try to do for the most part.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, because I wanted to know too, with the park upgrades, did that build in park maintenance as well? So, but by you saying that you upgrading everything, that, you know, I mean, I still would like to, you know, have see the park maintenance too, but I'd rather to have the newer park than just maintaining the park. But
well, and there's stuff like that, like, you know, amenities. We get requests. You know, there could be a park that doesn't have benches or something, or they're missing something. We do go out and address these issues if they are brought to our attention. Sometimes they're not brought to our attention, but they're talked about. It doesn't do me any good. I can't fix your problem, and we'd like to help. So, you know, let us know if there's something we can do.
what is the proper way for someone, if they have something that's missing, to be able to address that issue? Is there a number or email? How would you advise?
C-Click Fix is probably the best way to get to us. That's something that's it's monitored continuously. I would suggest that be the way that people communicate something to us, or a request or something.
Okay. Now, the community bicycle garden, where are we? I know it's in progress, but I know we have an aisle that's over there. Look, I'm saying owl, but it's aisle, the bird.
Yes.
That's over there that is kind of causing delays.
So the project's going great in terms of the design of it. We've worked a lot into it. We've put a lot of effort into what we've got out there. The amenities look wonderful. The facility is going to be beautiful. So most of the design, we've got a lot of input from a lot of people. We've got a lot of stuff jammed into a really small spot, but it's a $4 million park, so we kind of expect it to be that way. So part of the process goes through environmental. You have environmental things we have to do, and we also have to do some soil borings to make sure we know what we're building off of. Yes, there was an environmental issue. There was a burrowing owl on the site. He's been documented. We work with the appropriate people so that we can keep him safe and do our job. We have been able to go out and do this boring at this point, so that's keeping the process moving forward. But the design itself is come quite a ways. The environmental aspect will still need to be taken care of, but it doesn't stop us and preclude us from moving forward. And it's part of it. It wasn't expected, but at this point, you know, just kind of move on, do what we can, work with the environmental folks, make sure we, you know, keep everything in line and do what we can. And right now, we're still in the process. We're still able to move forward with the design and stuff. We're not in construction at this point, so it's still something that we're working on.
Are we in danger of losing the funding for this project because of the delays?
I do not believe so. So this funding is part of, so CCTA received I want to say it's a Safe Streets for All grant, possibly, and we were one of a few different cities that were in on it. Out of that grant, we received $4 million for that bike garden and $13 million for L Street. So this was a very important grant for us, and probably we were a big part of why CCTA was able to do it, because we did have projects that were able to roll out. This is something that happens. We're going. People don't like losing grant funding. Not the city, not the person that's given the grant money either, because they want you to succeed also. So they're not looking to pull the money and put it someplace else. They want to give you the money. They want you to succeed, and they want you to say, they want to also say, we had a great project. So we work with people. If it ever comes down that there might be a problem, you know, we can work it out. There's always communication. But in this case, it's just a process. We're just working through it.
Anybody else have a question? Because I have one more.
Yeah, so I am looking at the Nick Rodriguez Community Center. Do we have a time, that also includes the senior center, correct?
Yes, it's all the same. Yeah,
Right,
kinda the same
right.
building.
And so do we have a timeline for that, like when that is going to be done, or?
I'll have to get back to you on that. We're working on some stuff right now. I don't know off the top, but I can get back to you.
Okay, and then I'm just looking at the amount, so I was just curious to know, what type of improvements are they doing? You have to go into full detail, but just like can I have an idea of like what kind of improvements they're doing in the center and the senior center?
So, we received a grant. I believe it was over $2 million grant to do work over there, a wide variety of things. But above all, the roof was in very bad shape. So a lot of this money has gone into repairing the roof, so we have a place for people.
Right.
So that's one of the aspects that's happening right now. There's other things within the community center that can also be done, but the roof became a much bigger issue than we originally thought. But without the roof, you don't have the building. So that's
Right.
what we're doing right now. There'll be interior work that will be done, and we're looking at remodeling stuff in there also and doing some additional work. So it's all kind of one space, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it's intended to be kind of a work done kind of all over the place interiorly.
Okay, and you said this was with a grant, like this wasn't our money.
There was a large portion of the grant. Most grants require some matching money of ours, but yes, the majority of this work was done on a grant. I'm not sure what which grant it was, but we can look at it.
That's okay. I just think that's great that we're talking about grants all day, because I just know how important it is to get those grants to do all of these projects when we have a limited, budget. So, thank you.
So Scott, what do you need us to do on this today? We have to, you asking us to approve this? Because I know it's other information in here besides Parks and Rec. So you just want us to approve the Parks and Recs portion of it, or the whole document?
Your privy is the park and recreation stuff here. This is basically an informational thing. I
Okay.
present it to you. The actual ask is basically that. Oh, this is the wrong guy. This is Planning Commission, but basically it's an advisory. What we're looking for you to is approve this as it pertains to the Park and Rec. I do apologize that I don't have my staff report sitting in front of me, but you're not in conformance of the general plan. You're looking at the Park and Rec stuff. What do I want? I hope you guys like the plan. I hope you like what we're doing. I hope we've been doing a good job. If there are comments, they don't just have to happen right now. We're here all day. Just whenever you want, reach out. Let us know if we can do something else. But right now, the intent here is to let you guys see what we're doing. You guys look at it as in a different set of eyes than say the Planning Commission does. Comments that do come from this board or other boards, we do forward over to the city council. The document that you're seeing tonight is the same document that planning saw last night. Will be the same document that the city council sees next week. If there's any changes to it, that'll happen supplementary, so that the document's being passed. When I tell them that you've seen this and planning's seen that, it'll be the same document that you're looking at right now. Might get hacked up or whatever next Thursday or next Tuesday, whenever we're looking at these things. But that's kind of the idea. But for more than anything, it's an opportunity to let you guys know what's going on. As we keep growing, the Park and Rec stuff hopefully will continue to grow. As you were saying, the need for grant money is important. We know that we don't have unlimited general fund money, and there are programs. The grant money is out there, but it's not necessarily for me building a street. It's paid for other things: accessibility, bike lanes, other civic-minded stuff that you know, finding those grants, like the grant that we're utilizing from Nick Rodriguez, are so important. We get the opportunity, we can spend money, I'll tell you that, you know, we can build projects and we can spend money. So, you know, it's just a matter of getting the money so that we can spend it. There's a lot of improvements that can be done with the city, and we look forward to doing them, you know, as best we can. And most of the time, it's a funding issue, and there is choices that have to be made.
Yeah, so tonight's action is for review and approval of the draft for 2026 through 2031, the 5-year capital improvement plan. So we would like a
motion.
approval.
Okay. So can I ask one more question before we do that? I didn't see where it talked about signage. Are we improving any signage in our parks and stuff to make sure that if there's any missing signage? You know, I think we had a comment about dog leashes and signage wasn't, I think that was resolved, but I just want to make sure when you're looking at the parks, do we have the proper signage that's going to be within the parks?
It is something that we look at. There could be something, again, that might be needed, and that's something that we, again, look forward to hearing from somebody. Sometimes we just might not catch it. In terms of signage in general, yes, we are looking to do signage at a number of parks. We're actually considering bids currently for a wayfinding project that would install signage at parks. Not quite sure how that's going, but you know, the intent would be, if you've been to Halpoon Park before, it contains kind of the new branding of signage. If you've seen Chichibu Park, the entry sign that they have there is very much the new brand, but not the interior signs. Our goal would be to work our way through the city to upgrade all the signage at all the parks to the new branding, new wayfinding stuff, make them consistent. A lot of the problem, it's not even a change of the wayfinding, it's these signs are old. Some of them are deteriorating, some are gone. So trying to work our way through this, we're working off of, there was the whole branding of Opportunity Lives Here created a magazine that had an outline of a number of things. We're working off of that to try to bring those concepts into our parks and kind of get a different feel and be consistent throughout the city.
Thank you. So can I have a motion?
Yes.
He said we have to approve it, right, Shad? Yeah. Oh, you said don't. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm glad you brought up the park signage because I passed by Dallas Ranch Park today and I can hardly read the sign.
No, and I apologize. There is a number of those. They were wood. Most of these are, well, I'm not sure about Dallas Ranch, it's newer, but a lot of these signs were relatively old. They're wood, they're faded. Even when we go out to paint them, the wood starts to deteriorate. The materials that we're planning on using for the upgrade are much different, should wear a lot better. It's just an idea of getting out there. You know, these things there is a cost to everything. So we would like, when we did the rebranding a number of years ago, the hope was wayfinding and signage would follow and we would be consistent with the look. It does take time and money to do that. So we're working on it. First, we're going to start with the parks and try to introduce some of that stuff first. By hitting some of the, you know, one of the parks that's on this first list is Antioch Community Center. You know, getting that entry sign in there and doing some of the signage out there. You know, just city park. Try to hit some of these other ones, but like I say, the bids are, I don't know exactly where they'll go, but we have received bids. They're under consideration right now. But that's the idea. It would like it to all be consistent.
Wonderful. So can we have a motion now? You still have comments?
Is that okay?
Oh, yes, wonderful. I thought
I want to congratulate you on the brackish water desalination project completion, because that's going to be a huge reason why I stay in Antioch, is having reliable water in the future. And then obviously the intertie. I did want to just continue to look at this through the lens of a BPAC. I saw some improvements and extensions happening to Slatton Ranch Road. Is there anything we're going to be seeing soon in the future with regards to that and planning?
I don't know how soon, but it is something that's been added to the CIP to utilize ECRFA funds and some of the East Antioch Creek specific plan funds out there. Still, the whole project would still be underfunded by $6-8 million, I believe. It is something that we're looking into. We'll start the planning purposes. We'll need to bring somebody on board, but it is something that I believe this commission would see.
And then lastly, that community park synthetic turf replacement, is that happening at the youth soccer fields there at the community park?
Yes, that would be those are actually currently our only turf fields that we have.
Got it. Yeah, I had some students asking me if they were going to do that, so I have some good news to share with them.
Yeah, be more than turf when we get out there. They'll do some work. It's aged a little bit. It's not as smooth as we'd like it to be. Hopefully when we remove the turf, we can do some planing of it also and give it a little bit smoother. Get the World Cup here in a few years.
Sound like a win? How's the maintenance gonna be of that, the synthetic, field?
You know what? Our people, so this field's been in place for a number of years, okay? And it's worn outstandingly. Our recreation crews have taken care of that like nobody's business. It's not the turf itself is still in great shape. The rubber is always good. They maintain it. It's beautiful. The amount of wear that we get out of that, I think, is probably unmatched because of the amount of care that our crews have taken to go out there and drag or rake this stuff on a daily basis and make sure that it is playable and doesn't get rutted out or so. I think we've outlasted probably what its useful life was supposed to be, and it's just because of the care that the recreation department staff has put into it.
Excellent. Anybody else have any more questions? Go.
Yeah, so I actually saw this the other day, and now I'm just reminded of it. So the Hillcrest Avenue left turn at Wild Horse Road, where exactly, I was looking at the picture and trying to figure out, because I live off of Wild Horse, so I'm like, what are they talking about? I was looking at the amounts, I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, where exactly is there going to be improvements there?
So the projects in there, the plan, the city's plan has Wild Horse connecting to Slatton Ranch Road. Currently, Wild Horse goes down, dead ends at the park. The road continues down, goes under. Well, where it goes down and there's a T at the end, that T at the end is Slatton Ranch Road. So it would eventually connect to Slatton Ranch Road going out out towards the Brentwood side of things, okay?
Oh.
This improvement would be if you were heading towards Lone Tree Way on Deer Valley, no, on Hillcrest, okay? You're headed out. You're taking a left to go into 7-Eleven, where 7-Eleven's at. That turn pocket right there would be lengthened back. There's a great separation in between the roads right there, so it's a little bit more complicated than just, making it longer, because you'd have to put in almost a retaining wall. The idea is to lengthen the length of the left turn pocket for more car storage, so the cars don't back up into Hillcrest.
Okay.
Because the chances are that there's going to be more usage of that turn pocket if you have Slatton Ranch available over there. So you want to lengthen it out to gain storage of cars, so they're not impeding traffic just on Hillcrest. That's the concept.
Well, thank you. Because I can see how that can be an issue once you open that up. And sometimes it gets bad already right
Yeah.
now. So, yeah, I can definitely see that. Thank you for explaining that. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, can we have a motion to approve?
Yes,
You say you move?
yes.
Okay, so that's been moved by Commissioner Greggs. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Greggs and a second from Commissioner Gardner. Please cast your vote.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Scott. Great job. Appreciate it. Keep turning it off, Lord Jesus. Next item on the agenda is the continuation of the discussion for the potential project eligible for upcoming available grant funding through Proposition 4 and creation of the advisory ad hoc committee.
All right, thank you very much. This is a late night for Park and Rec Commission, so looking at the time like, oh man, it's 8 o'clock. It's time for me to get up out of here. But this is review. So for all our new commissioners, what this grant is, it's a non-matching fund grant, which is the best type of grants you can get. We are working with our grant liaison, Townsend. Our last meeting that we had, we kind of reviewed these top parks and greens that meet the requirements to be a good match. When talking to Townsend from our last conversation, their recommendation is that we do City Park. That's why I put the memo from them in here as well. But I know that there was still consideration of BD Lumberyard, which is right on the other side of the senior center. So I just wanted to bring it back for more discussion and then talk about some next steps that we as a Park and Rec Commission need to kind of do to position ourselves for this funding. When talking to Townsend, they recommend that we request between $7 to $8.5 million for the project, and that project will be for City Park. What we would need to do is we would need to get the community outreach, have about 3 meetings at the park. We would need to also do surveys of what they would like. And for a park of that stature, we would need to add about 5 amenities. And so the amenities could be a new picnic area. We could add a track around the field. We could turn those fields into turf fields. Scott was a great segue of talking about how we are trying to champion all parks to be all accessibility parks. So really ripping out the play structure, putting a beautiful structure in there for all abilities. I get a lot of calls from a lot of different people saying that, you know, where can I go? My child has special needs. Where can I take my child? So this could be one of the cornerstones on this side of town for that. So I just wanted to bring this back and then ask the commission to select up to 3 people to be on this ad hoc committee that would help me start getting out in the community, advocating, getting surveys, so that we can take this information to the city council, and then we can go from there, because the grant is actually going to come out. We don't know when, but they just emailed me about a couple of days ago saying that they're going to have a listening session. So we have received these funds before. These funds were used for what we're talking about, Contra Loma Estates Park. That park was close to $3 million. And the same thing with Marquette and Jacobson. Those parks as well receive smaller funds, but Townsend Group really believes that this is a very strong candidate to get up to $8 million in a request. So we can really ask the community what they want and really deliver in that aspect. So, of course, restrooms is super important at that park. Lighting, safety, and things of that nature. So,
Can you give the criteria of how we can choose and why City Park was identified as the park that we should be looking at? Because I know when we were going over it initially, we had questions and trying to understand how to select what would be the park that we would pick.
right. So, out of the list in green up here, the criteria is what is that? Less than 3 acres for every 1,000 residents. So you have to meet that criteria. And then it's also, does it meet for low income? And so these couple parks right here meet that criteria. These not so much. So it's a point basis when you turn in the application. So these automatically will get us the highest points. And then when we start telling our story about outreach, need, capacity, we start getting more points. So Townsend put this together for us, and it basically says that this area lacks critical park space and is a poverty level of 77,000 or less. So for that, we will get more points awarded for this project site compared to all other applicants. More points are awarded to a project site in close proximity to disadvantaged and severe disadvantaged communities. And then when I think about City Park, it really is the community park on this side of town. I see families there regardless of what the park looks like. We have soccer groups and user groups. We have birthday parties out there, no matter what's going on at that park. And I think if we could really turn this park into a cornerstone park where we have gazebos and maybe we add pickleball and a track and maybe we have some workout equipment and there's a water feature and you have a brand new all accessible and the bathrooms are working, that you will see this as a hub for downtown because people will come down here and then they will need to go eat. They will need to go shop. And not to say that the park is in disarray, like Scott said, our crews are doing a phenomenal job with the ongoing maintenance, replacing things one by one. But when we get opportunities for grants like this is something that is magical. It comes every 4 years, maybe. And I'm lucky enough to be in a position now where we're working on the bike garden. He was saying $4 million. It's a $5 million park, 5-acre park. We're going to be working on this grant. We're finished. We're going to get started on Marquetti the 1st of June. Jacobson is wrapping up, so that's going to be a ribbon cutting ceremony. And then Community Park is going to be right behind it, where I'm going to go find more funding so that we can redo those turf fields to match it and also do another all accessibility park. So it is a prime time for the community to kind of engage with us so we can listen and hear what they want and really implement it for the community need. This slide right here really shows the website that we went to at the last commission meeting, where you could just type in a park and a location, drop the little dot, and it would show you the income per capita, poverty level, access to open spaces. And this is how we kind of got that information and data to show which park would be the most beneficial for this grant. It's also a extreme heat risk like most of Antioch, which lends us to shade structures, planting native plants and trees for natural shade, gives us a chance to think about how we redo irrigation, recycle water, and stuff of that nature. So Townsend put this together to showcase, to add to city council meetings, other stakeholders, so they can get a good understanding of what we're talking about. And then I just wanted to pull up what the site looks like, because I know me and Commissioner Ellis always talk about doing field trips to all these. We have over 30 parks in the city, but this is City Park. So you have this major thoroughfare right here, A Street, which leads right into the downtown area. It already has a natural parking lot. It has a play structure here. It has this soccer field that's always being used by user groups. But right here in the middle is a restroom that is often closed or shut because of malfunction, things being broken and stuff like that. So when I talk to our team with Public Works, there's new technology where people can scan in. Even if you don't have a phone, if you're unhoused, there's ways to give people tokens so that they can scan into restrooms. And if anybody misuses the restrooms, there's a timing mechanism that the doors will unlock and then your privileges will be revoked. So there's different things that we can do in terms of like having enough funding and capital to think outside of the box to make sure that these bathrooms are not getting vandalized, that they're safe for kids and families to use as well. But there's a lot of open green space. I know everybody wants a pickleball court, but if this was a turf field, I think there's enough room to put, a walking path around, or put a whole walking path around the whole park, kind of like how we did at Country Loma Estates. They said that they want to walk their dogs. They wanted to be able to be inside their community, but still have a walking place that was safe. So once we get in the community and we start doing the surveys and start having these meet and greet sessions, we're really going to hear what they want and visualize it so we can make it happen. And just to put it out there, I don't know if everybody's been watching other council meetings, but this is a very hot topic area, the BD Lumberyard. And just for me, I'm not into building huge new spaces as a resident of Antioch, and seeing what we're going through financially. It's very hard to justify new spaces because of maintenance. And so the bike garden is probably going to be the last new project that I'm going to put my name attached to, because that 5-acre park is going to cost a lot of money to upkeep. So as much as I want an outdoor amphitheater and all the things that when I first got here, we did the planning things, it would break my heart for a city to invest in that and pay for another playground when we have over 30 playgrounds that need as much TLC throughout our community. One of the things that I am looking forward to is something on a smaller scale downtown that could possibly help us is turning into dirt lots like this into what they call mini pitches, which FIFA is happening right now. I don't know if people are seeing that they're turning empty lots into small futsal soccer fields. So that is something that I'm kind of looking into. I wrote a grant. I didn't get the last grant, but the grant was about $200,000 to turn a dirt field into a soccer field mini pitch where teams could do 4-on-4, 5-on-5 practice area, and that would bring a vibrancy downtown where people will come watch their kids play. They would go get a burger. They might go to the farmer's market and so on. So much smaller scale, not hard to maintain, but also brings stimulation to the economy. So at that point, I'll turn it over to the commission if you guys have any questions, and we can open discuss.
So is this grant specific for a single park, or is there ways that we could include more than one park?
Yeah, so the scoring rubric is based on one park. That was one of my questions too. I was like, could we clump it? There are other grants where you can go out and say that we're going to do 4 parks, and me and the Public Works, we have some parks identified for earmarked dollars to kind of do multiple parks. But this grant is a one and done.
I do look at this from an economic development perspective, and revitalizing Rivertown. It's really attractive to me to have BD Lumberyard see improvement of some sort. Perhaps we can find more clever ways to utilize that space. I know it is very useful to have for 4th of July celebrations and parades and the like. Obviously, having an improved park and being able to keep it up with maintenance is going to be better than having I don't know, an alternative, right, where we can't maintain those spaces. I don't know. I really want to see BD get improved. City Park has some facilities, and I would love to see obviously some of the good bathrooms with the higher tech that allow us to keep those open and accessible. But I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of room in City Park there, especially with the soccer field. And then likewise, having urban green spaces, places along the water where it's going to be cooler, but also giving people more shade. I mean, BD Lumberyard would be much more enticing if it wasn't just a gravel patch, right? And I think that would bring a huge improvement for attracting people to come spend money downtown in Rivertown.
Also, too, I kind of agree. We've done the research already on BD Lumber. We had the renders being drawn. We had the community outreach, and the community came together, and they really provided valuable input. But then that project kind of got shelved, and now, that was one of the enticing things, was to bring the community together. We could have had an amphitheater. I think it was a water structure. It was really nice what the plans we finally came up with, but we didn't get to do the final plans of it all because we were not going to move forward with it. So I would like for us to be able to maybe look at the plans and the money that we've already invested in that as well, and see if that is something that's going to be viable for the community, because it would give the community another option to be utilized. And we got a lot of good input from the community as well. So I don't want them to think that we just wasted their time. And that was a really push. They want that to be utilized so that their families and the community can take advantage of that. So That's my position on it. I do want to see City Park improve because we did get a lot of communication regarding having a pickleball court, something that's specifically not a shared court with something else. But I want to make sure whatever we decide to do, that it's going to give the community the opportunity to really utilize that, because they want to utilize City Park, but they did express some concerns about it being unsafe for their families. And so we want to make sure that every park in this city, a family can go and feel safe in it, no matter what's going on. So I don't know how should we look at that, maybe bring both of them to see, because we have new commissioners, so they didn't get to see the work that we did beforehand. Maybe we can look at that, and then as a commission decide, okay, what now that everybody's kind of seen the information that was already done, and we can make a decision on it that way, whether it be City Park, or do we have to make a decision like today?
We don't need to make a decision today. I think if any decision was to be made, I think it would be to have an open discussion with City Council, because they're going to have to support the idea. So I can bring this up to an open discussion for City Council and lay out both the pros and cons for both. And then I also agree, I think it's important for the new council members commission members to see the old plans for BD Lumberyard. I mean, we did have a design team that came out and we spent money, and there were a good amount of people that showed up for that. So.
And I gotta say too, I really like the idea of these pocket parks. Perhaps one of them's large enough to put a large fence with, timed access for pickleball. Maybe we could get pickleball in one of these unimproved smaller lots where we don't need to create a whole park or additional facilities, tons of signage, parking, all the works.
It's just the sound. That's the biggest issue with pickleball. Thinking about it being down in one of those little lots, but I think you guys have gave Scott a lot of good input in terms of like community outreach and what do you think about access, and if we wanted to put pickleball downtown, like we would have to ask them, like, it's this many decimals, are you okay with it? And then we would give a time. A lot of people play pickleball in the morning, especially if it was outdoors, around residents and businesses. How would that play out? But that's a great idea.
And Martinez, I think, did just have some issues like that with their pickleball courts, if I'm correct, right? Where the neighbors were upset about the sound. And, people, I don't blame them. People want to get out there early in the morning when it's cool out on a weekend, and, some people want to sleep in.
But also too, I think, getting feedback from City Council to see, because I know when we did all the work, they were saying they were moving in a different direction. So before we spend our time trying to figure out if this is something that is a viable situation, we would need direction from them as if it is so, if they really want to, re-engage that project. And if not, then of course City Park would be the park that we would look at putting together if that wasn't the direction they wanted to proceed in. So when can we get that feedback?
I have a department head meeting on Wednesday, and I can see when we can schedule that for one of the next council meetings.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. So I'm curious to know what exactly they said they wanted to go in a different direction, but did they add anything else to that when it came up?
I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't want to misspeak, but I think they were looking at more so something that would include housing, a housing component to it. And so the one that we rendered was mainly just community parks and structures, and so I think what they were looking at doing, because we have a housing situation in the city of Antioch, it was looking at maybe that could be an ideal location to maybe that can meet that need. So, was that right? Okay.
Yeah, it was mixed use, so, like commercial spaces down below and then, housing up top.
But with pickleball being loud, wouldn't it be considered to maybe have pickleball away from, a little further away from residents? Yes.
And that's why City Park looked like it would be a good ideal location for it, because it's like, it's not, I don't see many housing structures right there. You have that whole isolated area. So I think pickleball could be there. But it'd be wonderful to know that, okay, if we're able to get this grant, if we have any money left over, are we able to take what's left over and invest in it? Oh, no? Okay.
No, I just have to say that's, I'm actually a little surprised because I think I was looking at I think it was the October meeting that you guys had, and I like just watched it for a little bit, and I thought they said that we could use it for multiple parks at that time. Do you remember that?
I can double check, but when I talked to Townsend in our last, I don't think that's the
That
case.
is just the one.
Yeah. not on
Okay.
this one then.
Well, I
But
do
I could clarify, if we could use it for multiple parks, we got a list.
Yeah.
We got a list, but they also have to fit.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing is, you know, what we did at Contra Loma Estates, it fit because it was in a community, it met those parameters, and we spent every last dollar in on that project.
Got it. Well, I just have to say, I kind of agree with you, Shahad. Like, I really feel as though, like, you know, with all of the parks that we have, we were just talking about the Jacobson Park that's been sitting there for 33 years, and thank God, you know, we're finally moving forward on improving that park. But there are so many parks that we have already in, you know, different communities that really need help. So, and then me, you know, just an homeless advocate and what I do anyway, I kind of think it is a good idea for the housing. That's just me. But yeah, I think that the city park would be great, but it would be great to kind of see what you guys were looking at before, and then just go from there.
So we don't need to do any direction. You just bringing it up to share the information with us, and you're going to give us some more direction later.
Right. So if we want to make an ad hoc after the commission, after the city council meeting, we can do that, or we can make one tonight. But you may have a different feeling if it's the location that you want as well. So I will try to get us a scheduled date at city council, get their direction, and then I can bring that back, and then we can make an ad hoc, and we can get out in the community and see what they want us to do.
And we're able to we're still within the correct time frame. If we came back to the next Park and Recreation Commission meeting, we could make that decision in regarding the ad hoc, correct?
Yes, we would definitely start getting on it very, very quickly, because all the outreach and stuff has to be completed when you apply. So the way that Townsend will help us is they will help us with the surveys to make sure we get the proper information that's going to be required in the grant. So that's why I keep stating that we need to make sure if it is an existing park, it has to be 5 new amenities. And then we have to define that for them. So when we do the surveys, we want to make sure we're asking them, what would you like to add and what would you like to see redone? Very two different things. And just to make sure, Townsend's very good. Their whole team, we check in every week about all types of grants. It's not just this one. But, you know, they're going to help us along the way to make sure that we write this thing to the fullest extent.
And how many members do we need for the ad hoc committee? So now
3.
we have 3, but we can have more, or is it just 3?
Up to 3.
Okay.
I can probably say confidently right now that I'm a no on the ad hoc committee since I'm on borrowed time.
Borrowed time.
I just have
Thank you.
I think that's probably why I was confused when I brought up Jacobson earlier. Why is Jacobson still on that list if that's already being done right now? Was there just like a list of parks and did you not take that into consideration?
So that was just a list of parks that were in disrepair. This list is we did a park study about 5 years ago. So these are just all the parks that were on that list. And now that Jacobson and Marquette are done, they'll be coming off. But we also have the notes on there as well that the renovation was underway. But
Is there anyone interested besides myself to be on the ad hoc committee? Okay, so myself,
I'll do it.
Ellen Greggs.
okay, so what about you, Jim? Because I can step off and let you do it.
No, that's fine. I need to go about this in a logical fashion.
Okay, all right, so, do we need a motion to do create the ad hoc? All right, so may I have a motion for that?
A motion.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Greggs. We have a second from Commissioner Gardner. Cast your votes for the ad hoc committee.
Motion passes 6-0.
All right, so Shahad, you have your ad hoc.
And we will be walked through this correctly.
Yes.
we will be walked through it. We're gonna walk hand in hand right down to that park and tell people to come meet us. 'Cause we're gonna meet them where they are. We have to do it at the park, and we can do some stuff online, and there'll be other opportunities for people to participate as well to help us out, make sure we get this thing done right.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm excited about, like the outreach part and reaching the people that are in the community, so.
And it's really fun. We had several ad hoc committees for like our civic enhancement grants. We form ad hoc committees, and it's just a really opportunity to really get an in-depth view of parks and recreation and the community. That's where I love to be in the community. So thank you, Shahad. We are now at communications, staff communications.
All right, thank you very much. I got a long list here, but I'll keep it brief. First of all, staffing updates. We have our new Park and Recreation Manager in the audience. So Kristen Gray, congratulations. Welcome. From Emeryville. We worked together in the past. She's phenomenal, super smart. She brings a lot to the table, a lot of partnerships with school districts. She's been doing recreation for a long time, so we're looking forward to having her on our team, helping us with our special events, stuff like that. Also, we just put an offer out for a coordinator, so we're looking to get that position filled for our community center to help us out with all the programming that we have. I sent out something to all the commissioners in terms of CPRS, so I will make sure I get everybody on the commission membership. That's the California Park and Rec Society. So you guys can make sure that you can get into the admin section and see what everybody else in California is doing. There's always free trainings and resources. They also have small grants and stuff like that. So if you have a passion project, you might find support on the CPRS website to gain some footing and foundations of how to get that going. It's a great network. All of our staff are members of CPRS. We usually go to our local trainings that we have here, meetups. Then there's always the conference once a year as well. All right. Scott took a lot of my thunder, but Jacobson Park, once again, we're looking about a month to do a ribbon cutting ceremony. You guys will be updated on that. The bike garden is doing well. They came out. Every time they come out to do samples of the soil, they're also coming out to make sure where the owl is. So the last time we did a testing, the owl was not found. So hopefully the owl is well and live and actually made it to the preserve and not in the bike area. man, he took my thunder. I'm so excited about the park signs. And if we can get the wayfinding, the park signage is so elegant. It really helps people understand what's inside of Pruitt Park. Because when you drive past, you don't know what's inside. You don't know we have a gym. You don't know we have a library, the ballroom, the water park. So when people come into the lobby, they're always like, what is this place? And so there's no signage that kind of tells you. So if we can get that signage, that would be great for us. I think it would help more people understand there is a recreation center in there in the programs that we're having. That'd be great. Update on the water park. The water park is currently under renovation. Normally, for the past 29 years, this will be the weekend that they will be opening. Unfortunately, I am wearing my construction hat, and I'm out there checking on them every day to see how much closer we are to having our pools back with water. Right now, we're doing decking, and we're replastering the pools, fixing all the pool lights, new PA system throughout the whole facility. So we'll keep you guys updated on that as well. We talked about the Nick Rodriguez Center, still under construction. Once we get a date on that, there will be a celebration for both of the facilities when they finally open. Events coming up tomorrow. We have our skate park opening, so everybody's welcome to come out for that. We're going to start at 4:30. It's going to be a short program, but we just want to thank all of the artists who volunteered their time and their talents to creating something beautiful for the community. The skate park has been around since the early 2000s, and we've seen a culture of tagging and stuff like that, which is a beautiful illustration of art. But these are local artists who, was born and raised in the city and just wanted to give back. And we put up some tag boards so that we're not trying to stop anybody from their freedom of speech and art. So there's boards out there that they can go out, tag on the boards, and, every quarter we'll go out there, we'll paint over them just to keep people an open space to keep putting out their art, and they can tag their names, and if people want to reach out to them for projects, they can. So really excited about that. I want to thank Lene Jackson, my former coordinator, who really got that to the finish line. She got a promotion. She's working in public safety now as a manager, so shout out to her. Moving right along, we got June 19th for the Juneteenth celebration at Williamson Ranch. It's going to be from 4 to 8. That's going to be followed by 4th of July, downtown on a Saturday. I wanted to just give a shout out to our team. We won an award from CPRS for our social media. So everybody go follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram. We also got a nod for our photographers in one of the magazines. We didn't win an award, but we were nominated. And our kid is on there with slime from one of the slime labs. It's a great photo. So we're looking forward to continuing to put our photographers and the programs out there in the community so that Antioch can be recognized on a national stage, a local stage, that we're doing some great things. Lastly, we're working with the farmer market next month. Every third Sunday, we'll be out there with our staff. We just kind of confirmed and worked this out today that we're going to be doing healthy smoothies for the community members. I just purchased a bike blender. If you don't know what that is, when I worked in Richmond, we had bike blenders where it's a bike you pedal and it blends up the fruits and vegetables. So we're going to be making a strike to do more healthy initiatives, and I think teaming up with the farmers market to do healthy recipes for smoothies is going to be great. And we'll be out there every third Sunday until the end of the farmers market. So we're looking forward to doing that in collaboration, and make sure you guys go out and support every Sunday. And I think that is all I have for updates. A lot of updates, a lot of things going on. We are in the summer months, so summer camp is right around the corner. We got a lot of new commissioners, a lot of new staff, a lot of new faces. So I'll just be doing my best to keep everybody updated on what's going on. I'll probably be calling everybody one-on-one to come to my office and just kind of get a flow and a taste of what we're doing, give you some behind the scenes of some of the projects that we're working on. so everybody can get up to date as fast as possible.
Awesome. I have a couple questions for you. So the park, the water park, I know it was tentatively scheduled to reopen on June 6th. Has that been pushed back?
I'm waiting on more updates, but I don't think we're going to make the June 6th date.
Okay, because I know that will be another ribbon cutting opportunity for the commission.
Yeah.
And then also too, you said, let me see. So now the third Sunday for the farmers market, I know the mayor is having office hours during that time. Is that going to be something we're going to be instituting where different community leaders might have an office hour down there? Because that seemed like that would be a good idea for the community to meet, their community leaders.
City council members, y'all heard that? We'll pick a Sunday, get down there. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think, being accessible to the community is super important. I don't know if the mayor's always going to pick that Sunday, but I didn't have that in mind when I chose our date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about we used to have concerts in the park. Are we doing that, or are we not doing that this time? Or maybe concert or movies, one of the two.
Yeah, so we will have movies in the park. This year we have 4 selected. I think it's like we had different topics that we let the community vote on. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like Space Jam, my favorite movie and my son's favorite movie, Daddy Daycare, is up there. It made it this year. I'm super proud of that. So we'll probably have the bike blender out there as an alternative that people can make smoothies versus eating popcorn. We're going to start doing more flavored water, infused water, just to give people different options to sodas. And kind of going back to my roots when I worked in Richmond and kind of have some more initiatives. I know my manager, we talked about goals and goal setting and things that we want to do to kind of champion some of the things in the community. So we'll be working on stuff like that. In terms of the concerts, I've seen the biggest bang for our buck is just having more bands on bigger days. This community works and travels a lot, and it's really hard to get the community to come out for a Thursday. It's so competitive compared to the surrounding neighborhoods who have, that pinpoint location where everybody kind of already knows to go. I've been searching for that for 4 years, and I don't think I found it. And I found a lot of success in the Juneteenth. I found a lot of success in the 4th of July, the Day of the Dead, and just really pouring more into the entertainment, into those days that the community really wraps their hearts and minds around versus the one-off. Not to say that I don't want to do it. I just, with our team in transition right now, I think it's important to kind of look at our capacity and making sure we're not just spinning our wheels on certain stuff,
So I know the last thing that we were talking about at our last meeting, we voted to have, I guess, some intersections be done with the artwork. Do we have an update of when that's going to happen or when it's going to be completed?
Yeah, so in terms of the artwork budget, the mural budget, this is what the skate park kind of was, a foundation to kind of get out there and hopefully people can fund us. It's one of the things that the city council decided to take funding from. We do have a skeleton outline of what art commission would look like. I was going to hope to bring that to this commission to maybe add an art commission element to that as well, just to have more advocacy to go find funding so we can support some of these local artists. I will say that we are planning to put a mural on Nick Rodriguez, so that is going to be 2 in 1 year in terms of like artwork. Instead of artwork on the corner for Williamson Ranch, we did plants. So you see all the new floral planting around Williamson Ranch, and that's going to be one of the places whenever we do get a construction, when the bids go out for a park signage, that's going to be one of the first parks to get it as well. So it's still on my radar. My coordinator, Lene Jackson, and supervisor June, Gandia, they worked on it separately. It wasn't even part of our job to bring more art focus. So that's why we had the art commission with youth and the seniors in October. So we're still looking forward to getting that going in different capacities and funding sources.
Wonderful. I just want to say once again, congratulations on the award. We are proud of our Parks and Recreation Department. You guys do an amazing job. And so I just want to commend you on the award. And if anybody else have any questions for Shahad?
Yes, I do. I just have a couple I wrote down. So I was looking at the city council meeting that was on, I think it was a special meeting that they had. It had to have been Wednesday. And I did notice that they were talking about that they cut, I guess, the entire civic engagement grant with the Parks and Recs. Is that correct? So I was curious to see how that came about. Was that like the commission's recommendation, staff recommendation, or was that something that the council just did when they were looking over their budget? They just figured that was the best thing to do?
Right. So the budget study process has been, it's been a crazy exercise for sure. I think that last Wednesday, if you were talking about last Wednesday, they were talking about freezing one of my 2 vacant positions as well. One of them being the supervisor at the water park and one of them being the coordinator position. So there's ongoing conversations around the recreation budget. I do want to assure you that like my biggest priority is to make sure that we ensure service levels remain the same and we don't lose staff. We were asked to do exercise to just say, you know, list all the things in your budget that, you know, you're working on. So we did, I listed everything, 4th of July, I listed June, all the special events, all the things that were more of, wouldn't affect our on 365 days of service. And that's one of the things that they chose. So it wasn't a recommendation, it was a list that they read down and picked. But from my understanding is it's for 1 year. It's not for it's never coming back.
Okay.
The other thing that was cut that evening too was the $200,000 replacement fund for the water park. So I think that night I lost close to $500,000.
Wow. Okay, so I didn't see that part. So you just mentioned the water park. So is that going to affect what we're okay.
No.
Goodness.
No. So what I'm currently doing is funding was already allocated for these projects. These projects have just been dormant for a while. So the timing is never great. I read some of the comments and I understand that, you know, the communities is going to be frustrated. But if we didn't do it now and we just waited another year, I've seen that for 4 years since I've been here. So I think safety is super important. I think giving the community a top of the line product is super important. And as soon as we get these pools open, training is going to be super important to make sure it stays safe. Things could look nice, but if they're not safe, then I'm going to be very hesitant to open.
Right.
So I'd rather go at a steady pace and we're making sure we're checking all the boxes and everything is right before we open. But yeah, the funding that we have is enough to get us done. I think is forward thinking of what happens in the next 10 years for the next director or the next supervisor when things break down, and not run into a situation where you have multiple things breaking down and you have to go seek the funding. I'd rather the funding be there. So I think after this year, I will come back to the commission and I'll ask, you know, if it's not the whole 200,000, I'll ask for 100,000 or I'll ask for 50,000. But I think it's going to be important after we get through this year to make sure that they're thinking forward and continuously bringing that up, that we need to be having a reserve fund because pool equipment is expensive.
Yeah.
Filters, you know, plaster, all the things that we need to operate at a safe level.
Right. Well, thank you for that. I just have one more. So, yeah, so as I was preparing or trying to look at like the videos and of this, like the commission meetings to, you know, just kind of figure out like where you guys were, what your priorities were, what you were working on, I noticed that you guys don't have any, we don't have any videos of this commission on the website. And I even looked on YouTube because that's what I do, like for my outreach work and my nonprofit. That's how I engage with the community. And I put these little clips up and say, oh, this is what council is working on, or this is what, you know, these people are working on, whether good or bad. This is what it is. And that's how I have engaged with the community for like the last 9 years. So I was confused as to why there was no like consistent videos anywhere on YouTube. There was actually, I didn't see anything online. But you see like other commissions, APOC, what is it? The other, I forget the other one. Planning, I think planning, yeah, and then council meetings or whatever. So I was trying to figure out why we didn't do that. And then the one meeting that I did see, which I was telling you about, that I think was from October, the video was showing the commissioners, but it wasn't showing when somebody gave a presentation. It was showing you guys watching, like us watching the screen, you all watching the screen. It wasn't showing the community what was on the screen for during that presentation. So it was a little, you know, is there a reason for that, or is there something that we can work on?
No, there's something that we can definitely work on. I'll look into it. I would also say that we were having quorum issues, so we were missing a lot of meetings. I mean, that's why tonight is such a great night, that we actually have enough people to actually have a meeting. I know the last meeting we had, I don't think it actually broadcasted, so that's something that I can look into with our IS team. But they're watching tonight. I texted this earlier before we started to make sure that we're good to go. I did a sound check, and this one should be recorded. So.
Okay, great. Yeah, because even I just put a couple of screenshots just of what was in the staff report, and there were people that were like, oh, I didn't know Parks and Recs dealt with, you know, bike lanes and doing the traffic stuff. And so I think it's educational too, and it just kind of, you know, when people want to get involved, I just found it best to do that. And so I think that would work with getting more people involved with what the commission is doing and working on. So yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right, one last question before we go to our lasting agenda item. So you said that 200,000 was cut for the water park. What is that affecting if it's not affecting what's currently in progress?
Yeah, so future projects. So the past director, Brad Heffenberger, and I, we both discussed that if the park, when it was first opened 50 years ago, would have put $25,000, $50,000 away, that we would be in a better state for the park. So we picked 200,000 as a catch-up mechanism, which was great because it allowed me to fix some more things this season without having to come and you know, request funds from the general fund. So as of now, we're in a good space. Everything is budgeted for to get fixed. That's currently going on. But if we go 2 fiscal years, 3 fiscal years, and we don't get that back, then there could be an issue. But since I've been over the water park, we have dates, we have records, we have ongoing maintenance. So we know when something is going to break. We have annual slide checks where they come and re-wax and paint and coat the slides that we do have operational, the pumps, the filters, the skimmers, like all this stuff, thanks to the great team, has been new. So we know the timeline now, and we have a system where it's going to send us alerts. We know how much things are costing. We're forecasting costs for the future. So again, if we don't get those funds back, we're going to be in the same predicament we were. So it's going to be my job and the commission's job to just continue to, you know, nudge a little bit to make sure that people understand that we have to put that money away for everything. That's not just the water park. That's we talked about it for the parks as well. Like every single thing in the city has to have a rainy day fund and a plan.
So one of our last agenda items is commission communication. So usually that's the round table. We all talk about different things that we may want to see the commission work on. Do anyone have any commission communication?
I just wanted to welcome the new commissioners. It's good to see you on board. Thank you.
Anybody else? Well, Shahad, I do have one. You know, I want the community kickball game with with the police department and all our city leaders, where the community can come out and we can all have a kickball game. One, to begin to start building community trust with our elected officials and our police department. So that's something we're researching now. So I would like to do some research on our community kickball game. And that's it.
Yeah, since you just said that. Yeah, so I want to do something. I actually love kickball, so I think that's a great idea. But I do want to see if, hopefully in the future we can do something with, because I did have a basketball game with the youth and APD about a couple years ago, and that was a great event. But during a council meeting, like I had Public Works coming up and all these different staff that were like, oh, we play ball too. So I want to get some of those folks and get the youth together for a basketball game. Or it could be kickball, but I mean, I like basketball too, so. And then I also wanted to, I think what's the school that private school that's on East 18th going straight down? They just won like an award
Cornerstone?
Yeah, Cornerstone. They just won, their basketball team just won, their youth basketball team just won got an award or recognition from the city. So that'd be great to get some of those kids out there to play with some of our city staff as well.
Any more communication? If not, then let's have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Gregg, and we have a second from Commissioner Thorne. Cast your votes to adjourn this meeting at 9:03 p.m.
Motion passes 6-0. Meeting is adjourned at 9:03 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Usually an hour.
Sometimes less.
Yeah. Really? Depending on what's on our
If we even
agenda.
get off the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we were just trying to catch up with what y'all was doing.
Yep. So we had a lot of stuff to catch up on. Right. I think I forgot to ask was there any public comments? But you would have told me if there was any public comments, correct? No public comments. Okay.
After each presentation.
Yes.
In between our comments and.
Right.
I got into Cal State East Bay's teacher credential program, so I'm going to be doing that process in the fall and spring semesters from 5 to 8 p.m.
I know, look, it's sad.
Well, that's over the summer. It's going to be crazy. Yeah.
It's like every time we get a full commission, we lose with one or two.
Well, one thing about Commissioner Brooke, he's always at the events.
Yeah.
Oh, good. He goes to commission meetings, city council meetings, he sits in the back and.
Probably the planning commission.